What's up, dudes and dudettes? I got a problem, man. I know this guy, he's totally wicked. And I don't mean wicked in a good way, right? He's like an evil dude, bro. He yells at his kids all the time. Doesn't do anything to help his wife, man. He hasn't washed the dishes in 35 years, bro. Dang, not cool, man. And then he steals from people and lies, does whatever it takes to make a lot of money, bro. But he doesn't spend any time caring about people or God or nothing, bro. What's the deal with that? Why does he get all this money and awesome things in his life? He's got a big boat, a yacht, all sorts of stuff. And then I got a cousin, bro. And he died young, man. And he was totally awesome and lived for Jesus and stuff. What's the deal, man? What's the deal, Josh? What's the deal, Dave? Help me figure this out, man. It's not cool.
The next verse is a beauty. It goes, tempted and tried, I wonder why. The good man dies, the bad man thrives, and Jesus cries because he loves them both. Josh is dealing with the same thing we deal with. The struggle of why does the dude that lives for God fully, who gives his heart to his community, who shares openly everything he has, who loves his wife and his kids and his nephews and his nieces and his neighbors and serves in his church and does all the things God calls him to do. This dude gets cancer and dies when he's 35. And this wicked, evil man, he's 90 years old and he's spent his whole life just stealing from people and doing frauds and just hurting people his whole life, abusing people in his family and his neighbors, and just being just a generally wicked, evil person his whole life. Why does that dude thrive? Why does he have $7 million in his bank account and 3 houses and everything seeming to go his way? And this dude that was doing everything that the Lord, seems like the Lord was calling him to do in the Bible, and he just dies at a young age for why? And these are big questions, and these are important questions. And it says that Jesus cries because he loves them both. All right? So how did we get into this situation? Genesis 3 is where sin fell into the world. The devil tricked Adam and Eve into sinning, thinking that sin is better than living for God, that doing what they want is better than living in obedience to the Lord as their king, that being their own gods is going to be better and more enjoyable than living under and worshiping the mighty King of the universe. And that is where sin fell into the world, and the wages of sin is death. We learn in Romans 6:23. So the reality is that any kind of death, early death, bad things happening to us, these are all things that were brought into the world through this sin, and that's just the fallen nature of the world now. The story doesn't end there, which is the comforting part, but that's the world that we live in, a world of death and sin and darkness and brokenness. And we mentioned before that Jesus is going to deal with all sin. So you think that guy that lived that wicked, rotten life, that's just God blessing his hand and he's just going to skip into heaven after living that wicked, evil life? Do you really think no judgment befalls someone who lives their whole life ignoring God and his commands to love him and love people and to worship him and to sacrifice your life for him and for others? To do the opposite, do you think there is no judgment for that person? But as he goes year after year after year of seemingly getting away with it, right? It's easy to wonder, is he just getting away with it? Does God care? Yes, he cares. But it's not what you think. Listen to this. Jesus cries because he loves them both. You say, does he not care that he lets this person hurt these other good people? No, he's crying because that person is on a path to hell. That person getting away with these wickednesses are not getting away with it at all. The reality is that dude that's gotten away with all that crud for all these years would have been so much better off being thrown in prison for his garbage ways when he was like 25 years old, to run into a pastor within the prison, to repent of their sin and turn to Jesus, and live the rest of his days with nothing but the clothes on his back and giving away everything else, all the millions that he would have made, throwing that all in the trash because that will all burn up in the end. But a life with Jesus lasts forever. Jesus cries because that person is on a path to eternal judgment. Do not worry about like people not being judged. Actually cry for people that are getting away with all this garbage, because in the end they're going to pay a dear price if they don't repent and turn to Jesus. And Jesus also cries about the person that dies young and all that. Like, he's not heartless, even though he knows that the person who served him and dies young is going to be with him and be better off in the end anyways. He still weeps because the sadness of death. Remember when Jesus wept when Lazarus dies? So, does he care? Of course he does. You're going to be tempted to doubt that God cares, and the devil's going to put that in your head, and your faith is going to be tried because of the bad things that happen to good people or yourselves or people around you, and then good things happen to wicked people. But know that God has everything under control, and he does care, and he does love you.
Yo, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Josh. That actually helps out, man. Give me something to think about, bro. We'll see you next time for part 3. This song's got a lot of theological gems, like I said, bro. Check it out.